Good evening everybody and welcome back to the channel. So this video I wanted to actually put out a couple of weeks ago, but I'm now pretty much coming up on 3 weeks trying to recover from a flu. My throat I feel like I've swallowed a bag of razors or something like that. My throat is absolutely killing me, so apologies if I sound whatever, real throaty, raspy and all that sort of thing. I'm also fighting off the dreaded tickly cough. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a two-part video. Sorry, not a two-part video, but it's going to be kind of two things in one. This is going to be a very brief, sort of summarized review of the course you can see in the background now, which is Hereford Bluffs Golf Club, designed by Nor07. This was supposed to be my first detailed, actual proper review of a course on PGA Tour 2K23, and I will go into the details in a few moments after I give this little brief review of the course as to why it is not going to be, and why others won't be, and what the plan is. The plan B is pretty much so. Yeah, I just want to say just apologies for that, because if you did catch my last video of what the review plan is, unfortunately that has to be scrapped, as you're probably aware from the title and the thumbnail of this video. North47 in editing here, and I just want to apologise for the delay in actually getting this video out real quick just before we do continue on with the video. All the other commentary that you will hear throughout this video was actually recorded back on December 11th, and as I'm finally getting the chance to actually sit down and edit everything together, it's actually, what date is it now? Today it is the 18th, so yeah, I just want to apologise for the delay, but everything that you hear later on in the video about the review process and how I'm going to go forward with it, it definitely will not be anything this side of Christmas. So I just wanted to get that out there, just apologise to you all for the delay, severe delay in getting this video out to you all. So let's get back to the actual video itself. So at the time that I'd actually played the 4 pin sets of this course, there was less than 100 plays. I think it was 80. It was just coming up on 90 plays total, I think. And I believe now it is a number of thousand plays already. So if you're not one of the many people who have gone out and played the course, be it once or a number of times already yourselves, I do highly recommend going out and giving it a play. Absolutely excellent course. But basically a brief rundown of what I had spoken about in the review is that, like, I thoroughly enjoyed the course across all 4 pin sets. I thought everything was great about the course. There was only a couple of things that I critiqued a little bit. I thought in general, like the overall sightlines and such like that for the course. Now, in terms of sightlines, I'll talk about, that's one of the critiques. But for the likes of true sim players and stuff, the great view of the whole course as you're playing through. You're not obstructed in any way for your tee shots and such like that, or any approaches. When it came to the lighting and such, I thought it was very nicely balanced. It was a nice, sometimes the dawn or the dusk time of day can be kind of dark, and with the amount of trees, etc., for the visual appeal, I thought it was kind of nicely balanced. It kind of given the silhouetting kind of look of the trees and stuff in the background. But if there had been a lot of trees and stuff, I felt it would have possibly been quite dark on the default settings. But one of the critiques that I did have, which when I think about it now, what I will do with actual reviews is actually I'll overlook it, because the fact it's kind of out of the designer's hands, unfortunately. And what I mean by that is it's pretty much just basically down to the game engine itself, the Unity engine. I think it's because, and myself and a number of others have said, I think the game now, the series has kind of reached its limit for what the Unity engine can handle. But pretty much you'll see with gameplay in the background here as we're going around is just what I find, and I don't think it's not unfair or being mean towards, I don't think anyway, towards designers, but it is I can't think of the way that when I think back now, it's kind of, it would be kind of unfair because depending on what the designer wants to do with their course. Like you'll see a number of courses will have heavy planting all around the edges of the water, and it kind of breaks up. Basically, what my critique is, what I termed it as, and I spoken with Nora about this, and it feels a bit harsh. I suppose would be one way to put it, is the way that you can have that just sharp edged transition going from the land or terrain into the water. Now, if there was a bit more rendering power or rendering distance and stuff like that with the engine, you'd probably notice it a little bit less, where it wouldn't be as sharp. Because when you do zoom in, I did in one of the rounds, I did zoom in down, and you could see grass textures coming up from under the surface of the water, where it kind of gave a little bit more of a natural feel. But from afar, the way that I termed it was that it looked unfinished. I have my notes around somewhere, but basically that I said that it kind of looked unfinished, and it was kind of, I want to say, like, kind of, I said that it looked like bland and stuff like that, because what I would have liked to have seen was a bit more planting just around the water edges, just to kind of give it a bit more of a flushed out natural kind of feel to it. But it didn't have that sharp edge where you could see the quote unquote transition going from the terrain into the water. So that'll be actually one that I'll probably just overlook going into reviews properly when I do properly get into them. But the other one that I had, the only other critique that I had when I mentioned sightlines a few moments ago, was in the gameplay that you can see now in the background. It was actually in this round on pin set 2 on the 18th green. I hit a bit of a slow shot on my approach into the green, and I kind of went off to the sort of back right. There was a bunker just around about there, but the rock work and stuff around, that's in between the clubhouse area and the 9th and 18th greens, I ended up just in a patch of heavy rough, just to say, off to the sort of back right area of the green. And unfortunately what happened was it completely obstructed my view of, I couldn't see the club. And even holding L2 on the controller, to the way that you can raise the camera angle up to a higher angle so that you can see down if you are kind of obstructed, I still couldn't see anything at all. So that was the only other thing for in terms of sightlines, because with the distance of the rock work to the and where the green was, that I think even if you were kind of just, if you were still on the green, depending on how the camera is, you could still potentially be obstructed from it, depending on what way the game loads up the view for you to your golfer. But yeah, otherwise, basically, I had absolutely no issues with the course. Thoroughly enjoyed the whole lot of it. Now, the only thing that I would suggest, if you have not played it at all yourself, or if you run a society and you have, I want to say, like a kind of mixed bag of skill level with players within your society, so you might have some top tier players that are playing that'll have no problems with any conditions that you'd set whatsoever, or you might have some lower skilled players, maybe people who are brand new to the franchise, that wouldn't be used to the higher difficulty that you can have in the game. I would suggest not playing from the tips, because I suggest playing from the tee set just in front, where it still gives just over 7,000 yards. I can't remember offhand the exact yardages, but from the tips, with default conditions, no, I didn't change any winds at all. Winds were kind of medium across, kind of moderate to medium strength across all 4 pin sets when I played. But all the par 5s, they play 600 plus yards. There's a couple of quite long par 4s. Same with par 3s as well. Now, there is a couple of reachable par 4s. You can get there in one. Or the temptation is certainly there, conditions dependent. But, as I say, just in particular with some of the holes, they do play quite long. So, depending on the skill level of certain players, if you want to keep it fair, if you run a society, if you want to keep it fair across the board, so that there's still a bit of a challenge there, conditions dependent for the top tier players, but it's not going to be overly difficult for the lower skilled players, I would suggest playing them maybe just not the tips but the tees just in front. But yeah, all in all I can say is that it's absolutely excellent course, fantastic work by Nor. Thoroughly enjoyed it, as I've enjoyed previous courses also on the which I've covered at least a couple anyway, if I remember correct, on the channel. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not a full in-depth review of the course, which is what I had intended to do by putting in footage from across all 4 pin sets and going into proper detail of all the different areas that I wish to cover for the reviews. So what I'll do is I'll get into now explaining as to why that is the problem. So as I did mention, I believe I did mention anyway a few towards the start of the video, I was this is actually my second time recording this. I don't know, everything locked up on me and it didn't save, so I'm having to redo the commentary. But pretty much I was supposed to have this video out a couple of weeks ago to explain what has happened with my intentions for the review process. But as I did mention anyway at the start of the video, I'm still fighting off this flu. My throat is absolutely in bits, so I want to try and get this done as quick as I can, this commentary, just to try and rest my voice, because it's absolutely killing me now at the moment, my throat. But basically what happened was, as I did mention in the previous video, what the plan was to be is to play all 4 pin sets and record the gameplay of them, and then I'd chop up the footage and splice them all together, having different panning shots and all that sort of thing, and approach shots into greens and such like that, and do the commentary, do post commentary, where I can edit that down as well and cut out any blank spaces in between commentary, or any of my very common and all that sort of thing that I say when my brain is trying to process what words to say if I'm doing live commentary, which I'm doing it now. See? But basically what became the issue was that, unfortunately, the restrictions with the software of the Share Factory on the PS5, because as I've mentioned a number of times, I do all my recording, editing and such like that on the PS5. The only parts that I don't do on PS5 is I do my thumbnails on my phone, actually, with some photo editing software or apps that I have on my phone. And then any sort, like all the descriptions, such like that, I do in the YouTube studio on the laptop before I actually publish the video. But otherwise, everything that you'd see and or hear in the video is pretty much, it's done on the PS5. And what happens is, unfortunately, you're only allotted a certain amount of clips if you're not familiar with the Share Factory, and it's not as restricting as the PS4. There's a lot more memory for the amount of clips that you can use now with the PS5 version of the Share Factory. But what I found happened was I ran out of space, and I was halfway through the video with barely doing the commentary. I'd gotten through all the visual appeal actually, and I'd edited that down. So I still had, I have it just to the side here. So a brief recap of all the different areas that I want to cover is like visual appeal, hole routing, and stuff like that. So what options has the designer given you to get around the course or attack a certain hole? Looking at the greens, the bunker placements, and then was there any signs of the course being auto-generated? And I'd only gotten the visual appeal done, and I ran out of clip space. So keeping that in mind, that I'd only done one aspect of the review, and I still had another 4 to do, and depending on the detail that I want to go into or intend to go into for a particular course, it could be a case where, like with the likes of Hereford Bluffs, I probably would have been spending maybe a minute at most. Not even that, saying in regards to auto generation, because there's no auto generation that anywhere that I can see at all on this course. It's all completely designed by hand by Nor. I couldn't see any signs or evidence of it whatsoever throughout my 4 rounds that I played. So I mean that wouldn't take too long, but going into the details on the other stuff, as I say, I'm running out of the amount of allotted clips. I believe it's a combination of, we've got the two tracks. So the main gameplay that you can see now in the background, because I'm obviously doing this post commentary, I just have the gameplay running. So track 1 is the gameplay, and track 2 is my commentary now talking. And I trimmed all the down. I put in as much footage as I wanted for that section, doing the panning shots and such. And I say I ran out of space, and it ended up being, for the last number of weeks, even while fighting off this flu, I basically I've been banging my head against a wall trying to figure out what's the best way to do this, and the only thing that I could come up with is more of a headache than anything else. And what it basically comes down to is recording a minimum, depending on the detail of that I go into with the commentary for the review, a minimum of 2 videos, if not up to 4 videos. And what I'd have to do then is, just say for example now, this section of the video would be the first video that I record. Then I'd record a second video with footage all spliced together, do the commentary for that, do the potential third and potential fourth. For the second, third and potential fourth videos, render each of those, and then after rendering each of those, which sometimes can take a little while, reload back up the Share Factory, bring the second, third and potential fourth videos in with the first, edit them all together, render the whole damn thing again. When that's done, go back in again, because obviously if I want to add in any of the stuff that comes up on the screen, so like all the like, subscribe and all that sort of stuff, and the Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call that these days, that has to go into bloody track 2 as well. So after doing all that, I'd have to, as I say, go back in with the full video, fully edited, the whole lot, all the sound, if I add any music or whatever. Music has its own separate track. But yeah, add in all those overlays, and if I've forgotten anything, add in text on screen or whatnot, and render the whole damn thing again. So you're talking potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rendering 5 videos. Am I counting that right? Just recording up to 4 videos, rendering 5 times, then uploading and doing all the stuff, all just for 1 video. Now I had toyed with the idea of recording the footage, and then recording the gameplay, or sorry, not the gameplay, but recording my commentary, just over, say, like a blank, like I could just do a screenshot, black screen screenshot, something, or just a picture in the background, record the commentary, and just have the gameplay overlaid over that. I could transfer it all into a flash drive, bring it over to the laptop. But again, I did do that somewhat to artificially upscale the videos when I was on the PS4, and again, that was a bit of a headache, transferring everything over, editing over there and stuff like that. So I said, no, I'm not even going to touch that. So basically what I'm going to do now is I am going to revert to I want to say quote unquote plan B, which is basically going back to the playthrough style, where it'll be live commentary, but what I'll do is I'm going to do it in certain sections of along the lines of, but not as in great detail, how I want to do them. So how I want to do the start of the video, how I want to do the actual gameplay section and stuff and review, and then do the end of the videos. The gameplay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go back to, I think, just back to pin set 1. Excuse me. But it'll be live commentary, but I'll chop up for the start part of the starting section of the video and the end section of the video for what I want to talk about in those parts and my overall rating and such like that. But yeah, just back to, I think, just basically live commentary, and just do an actual review. Now, I will probably be taking not overly too long, but some detailed looks around parts of the course, so to say, like the clubhouse area and any things that catch my eye, or if something looks off and such like that. Now, if people don't want me to go into too much detail on that, feel free to let me know. I can always tweak that and have the process of that part going a little bit quicker. But yeah, that's just for my own sanity, because even as I say, fighting out this flu, trying to figure this bloody thing out for the quickest and easiest way to do it. Like, I mean, it's it's 4 or 5 weeks now, I think, since I put up the review plan process video, and I was intending to have, because it was pretty much the day after I published that video, Nora actually messaged me about Hereford Bluffs, and I had the time, and I got the four rounds recorded, and I was working on the commentary and stuff like that within a couple of days. So at least a couple of weeks ago, I should have actually had that review up, only for I just boom hit a brick wall with, unfortunately, the editing process and the restrictions of the Share Factory. Now, when I do eventually have my PC built, a couple of main components is all I need. One of them, a third part is all that I need. It's relatively easy to get. I can pick that up, but it's just two main components that I do actually need. So once I eventually get them done, I'll have a lot more freedom. But until then, I am highly restricted. So yeah, that is going to be the plan, and yeah, we'll take it from there on that. But pretty much now, just to wrap up, because that's all I can think of, and we're coming up on the end of this round in the background now as well. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to actually have the time, because of the time of year. Obviously, it's just now a couple of weeks away till Christmas. Everything's going to start getting hectic. I don't know if I will genuinely, just even though I'm still trying to fight off the flu, I don't know, and my throat as well, trying to get my voice back proper. I don't know if I'll have the time to get an actual review done. If I do, hopefully, it'll be this side of New Year. I don't know if it's going to be this side of Christmas. Highly unlikely. But I'll try my best anyway to get one this side of the New Year. But I say I'm going to wrap up the commentary here, because my throat is absolutely killing me. So yeah, if I don't manage to get a video out this side of Christmas or this side of New Year, I'd just like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope that 2024 is a great year for you all. But hopefully this side of New Year, at least, I can hopefully get a video up. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave the commentary before my voice decides to leave me altogether once again, because it's been coming and going. So yeah, if you did enjoy the video, do make sure to drop it a like, drop a comment down below, let me know what you think about reverting to that idea. And if you're just brand new to the channel, or you have not done so already, do consider subscribing, and I will talk to you possibly this side of the New Year, otherwise sometime early in 2024. But until then, take care, have yourselves a good one, and bye for now.